Social Value Manager, and I sit within the Employment Skills and Economy team at Sheffield City Council. The purpose of today's session is to talk about all things apprenticeships. So apprenticeships have been part of the fabric of the working life in South Yorkshire for, well, I'm not even going to say years, not even decades, but centuries. But still, there's a lot of uncertainty around apprenticeships with employers and teachers in schools, colleges, parents, and even students. They're still seen as a second-rate choice into higher education, which very much so isn't the case. So the people who are going to be speaking this afternoon really see the value and understand the positive impact that apprenticeships can have on not only you as students, but for the city and the employers within it. Okay, let's move over. So we've got Harry, who's the apprenticeship advisor for Sheffield City Council. We've got Emma from Amy, who are one of the biggest deliverers of apprenticeships within Sheffield. We've got Abby, who's going to be talking about real life experiences, who's just successfully completed an apprenticeship. We've got Emma, Luke and Kennedy from HSBC, who deliver apprenticeships on a global level. I'm going to be then talking a bit about our apprenticeship event in March. And then at the end, we're going to have time for a Q&A session. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will answer as many as we can at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is hand over to Harry, and he's going to tell you about his role.
Hello. Yeah, hopefully everyone can hear me and everyone can see the PowerPoint on the screen there. But yes, my name's Harry. I am an apprenticeship advisor for Sheffield City Council and Opportunity Sheffield. I'm sure there's probably a lot of you guys on the call today who have seen me before in your schools, giving apprenticeship talks and things like that. So yeah, I'm sort of known around these parts as the apprenticeship guy. So yeah. What I'm here for, first of all, today is just to give a bit of an overview, a bit of an insight into apprenticeships, what it is, what the levels are, how you can get an apprenticeship, things like that. And then we will pass on to some of the employers, as Stephen has mentioned there. So there will be a few things that some of you have maybe heard from me before. But again, I know there's a lot of parents and carers and teachers and stuff on the call as well. So there'll be a lot of things that you guys might be able to pick up on that you didn't necessarily know around apprenticeships previously. So to start us off, what is an apprenticeship? An apprenticeship is an alternative form of further education. So for most of you guys, you've got decisions of what to do at what you would call post 16 or post 18. So post 16 choices would be when you finish in year 11, which some of you will be, you can decide what you want to do after leaving school. Where do you go? What do you do? For most people in that situation now, so your choices, there's lots of options that you can choose from, but the main things that most people would go into would be, you can either go to college to study a college course. You've got sixth forms where you can go and study A levels maybe. You've got T levels as an option, which your colleges run T levels, which are vocational courses themselves as well. Or you've got apprenticeships. Colleges and sixth forms and T levels are very sort of classroom-based learning, very academic in some instances. An apprenticeship is completely different. An apprenticeship is what I would call workplace-based learning. So what that is, how it works with an apprenticeship, you would usually work a job 4 days a week or 80% of your time. 20% of your time or 1 day a week would be spent at a college or a training centre where you are working towards gaining a qualification in the job that you are working in. So 4 days a week working, 1 day a week studying, and you're gaining the skills that you want to gain in the workplace. There are different levels of apprenticeships. I'll touch on that a little bit more on the next couple of slides. But the most important thing for some of you guys out there is you can see you do get paid for an apprenticeship. Absolutely. It's not classed as work experience. It's not slave labor. It's not anything like that. You absolutely do get paid for the work that you're doing. Now, the minimum hourly rate for an apprentice currently is £7.55 an hour, but for the time a lot of you guys would be looking at starting an apprenticeship from this September, sorry, it will be going up to £8 per hour. So £8 per hour is the minimum that you will be earning as an apprentice. However, depends on who you're working for, what you're doing, different levels of apprenticeships, things like that. You can get paid a lot more than that as well. As you can see, apprenticeships can take just from 8 months to complete. For most of you guys looking at these post-16 apprenticeships after year 11, it's probably going to be somewhere between either 1 to 2 years. So a similar time as what it would take if you were to go to sixth form, go to college to study a course there. So it's not going to take you any longer or anything like that. It's probably going to take between 1 or 2 years for most of you guys straight away at 16 looking at an apprenticeship. Again, in some cases, it can take a little bit longer. Depends what you're doing and things like that. With an apprenticeship, it is a real job, as I mentioned. So you do have those real responsibilities. It is a real working contract that you're working under. So you've got to think, you know, it's all right thinking to yourself, well, I want to leave school and earn some money. £8 an hour, £250 a week sounds amazing. Why would I not do that? Are you actually ready for an apprenticeship though? So it's going into the workplace. Some of you may have done work experience in year 10 in school. Some of you may not have any work experience. You've got to ask yourself, how confident would you be going into the workplace? Are you mature enough? Are you responsible enough? Are you professional enough? These are questions that you need to answer, really. If your mums and dads and parents and carers are getting you out of bed to make it on time in school, to make it on time to school in the morning without being late, then are you going to be able to get up and get yourself to work on time every single day? These are things you need to think about. I'm sure there's some of the parents on the call now probably thinking about their sons and daughters sat next to them. Yeah, that's true. I'm still getting you out of bed to make it to school in the morning. You've got to be able to do it yourself and get up there and give 100% effort in every day, because that employer is paying you to be there. And if you're not going to be there, you're not putting the effort in, they're not going to want to give you the job. You end up going to end up getting fired or getting sacked or whatever. So it is really serious. So you've got to treat it as that. But then, yeah, if you do feel like it is for you, an apprenticeship, if that is the route you are looking at going down, there's over 700 different types of apprenticeships out there. So whatever job, whatever career you're interested in, there will be something for you depending on what stage you're looking at. So yeah, post 16 apprenticeships, and then we'll move on to the levels, and I'll talk a little bit about some of those post 18 options for some of the older students here as well. So yes, moving on. So the levels of apprenticeships, it's really, really important to know about these, making sure you're looking at the right options for you. So anyone at post 16, so finishing year 11, you would be looking at either level 2 or level 3 apprenticeships. Now that comes down to, first of all, what you're predicted for your GCSE grades. There'll be some people sat here this evening who are going to be predicted to pass their maths and English. Some people might not be able to achieve that in school. Either way, that's fine, but it just determines what level apprenticeship you're going to be looking at starting out at. So as you can see there, level 2 is your lowest level of apprenticeship. That is equivalent to studying for 5 GCSEs. Now, you guys in year 11, you are studying for your GCSEs at the minute. So we know that you are able to work at that level because you're doing it already. So all that's required of you is grade 1 at least for your maths and English for that. So anyone can do a level 2 apprenticeship. That is available for most people there. However, it starts getting a bit more technical the more you move up the level. So level 3 apprenticeships are equivalent to A-level standard of qualification. So equivalent to what your sixth formers are studying. So it's a little bit harder than GCSE. It's a little bit more technical. So to prove that you are ready for that, that you're able to do that, ideally you need to be passing your maths and English GCSEs in school, getting grade 4 or above. If you can achieve that, fantastic. You're more than capable of going on to the level 3. If you're not, there will be some people who won't achieve that in school. Again, that's fine, but you probably want to look at level 2 to start off with, and then can sort of work your way up from there. Anyone who's looking at those post-18 apprenticeships, so maybe you're in college or sixth form at the minute, you might be looking at what's called higher or degree level apprenticeships. So we're going to talk about those a little bit later as well, but essentially it's exactly what it says on the tin. It is a university level degree that you are working towards. It's exactly the same sort of degree that you would get at university. Again, it's just a different way of achieving it. So rather than going to university, studying full time, you would be working a job. You're in the workplace 4 days a week, and you would go to university just once a week to work towards that degree. With these degree apprenticeships as well, so again, I don't know how much people are aware, but you have to pay through, your student loans and stuff to go to university. Everyone has to do that once they graduate from uni. You repay those student loans. With a degree apprenticeship, if you do a degree level apprenticeship, you don't pay anything for that degree. You get it for free. Your employer pays for it for you. So the people you're working for, the company that you're working for, pays for your degree, and they're investing in you to be a valued member of that company by helping you work towards your degree. So no debt whatsoever with a degree level apprenticeship. So some fantastic opportunities there available in those. So yeah, depending on sort of your situation at the minute, what year you're in, what you're working towards, how old you are, what you're looking at. Anyone aged 16 in year 11 at the minute, you would be looking at either level 2 or level 3 apprenticeships, depending on what your predicted grades are. And anyone looking at those post 18 options, so that's where you might be looking at those degree level apprenticeships, or you're more than welcome to look at those lower levels depending on your academic level and things like that as well, really. So yeah, really important to know about those levels. Hopefully that sort of makes it clear and opens up your eyes in terms of what you should be looking at the minute. However, so it comes down to your predicted grades, but it also comes down to your what job you want to do. So, not every single job is available at every single level of apprenticeship. So you can see some examples of jobs there. If you are sat here now and you want to be a bricklayer, you want to be a joiner, you want to be a hairdresser, you want to work in childcare, then you would be looking at level 2 apprenticeships. Doesn't matter what your level is, doesn't matter what year you're in, doesn't matter what GCSEs you've got. Those are the levels you'd be looking at because that's the level of that apprenticeship. Bricklaying apprenticeship is a level 2 apprenticeship. There's no level 7 bricklaying apprenticeship. So you'd be looking just at level 2. Obviously, level 3 apprenticeships, you're stepping up there. So if you want to be an electrician, you want to be a plumber, you want to be a teaching assistant, you want to work in digital marketing, then you guys would be looking at those level 3 apprenticeships. But as I said on the previous slide, to be able to do those level 3 apprenticeships, really, you want to be passing your maths and English GCSEs in school. So if you're sat here now wanting to do an electrician apprenticeship, you need to make sure that you're getting those 4s. It's just going to open up the options for you to be able to do that. If you're not able to achieve that in school and you want to be an electrician, you would probably be looking at going to college for an extra year, first of all, working towards that maths and English, studying electrical installation, maybe at college or something. Then after that, that's when you would be ready for an apprenticeship. So if you can get that maths and English, it just gives you that one step further ahead where you can start. And then you've got those degree level apprenticeships. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, a teacher, that's when you'd be looking at those higher and degree level options instead of going to full-time university. So it comes down to what your predicted grades are, but also what job you want to do is going to determine what level of apprenticeship you'd be looking at and when you would be doing that as well. All right. So we've got foundation level apprenticeships. I'll just touch on these really quickly. So they've just been introduced from September 2025. So they are in the first ever year at the minute, just available. So foundation apprenticeships, they are sort of like a pre-apprenticeship for those people who may have sort of EHCPs, maybe don't have the confidence to go into an apprenticeship yet. Then these have been designed for you. So yeah, there's only a few sort of things available. You can see down the right-hand side there, you've got health and social care, software data, a couple of trade-based apprenticeships. So there's not loads and loads of options in terms of those jobs yet, but hopefully more and more will be rolled out. And again, there's not loads of vacancies because they are so brand new. So if you are interested in these, if you think these are relevant to yourself, then I'd maybe speak to your careers team in your school, speak to colleges, go into open events at a college. You know, if you're applying for any courses, then try and speak to them about the possibility of foundation apprenticeships as well. But most people will be able to start, you know, at that level 2 apprenticeship, but these are just designed for those people who struggle that little bit extra, really. All right. So once you know sort of what level of apprenticeship you'd be looking at, what job you want to do, then it comes down to finding an apprenticeship. So there is a government website that you can find apprenticeships on. It is the Find an Apprenticeship Service website. It's a gov.uk website, and basically it's a jobs website just for apprenticeships. So you want to create an account on here, and then you can use that. You can type in what you're interested in. You put your postcode in, and you can search for apprenticeships within 5 miles, 10 miles, 20 miles of where you live. And these will be live jobs, live apprenticeships that employers are actively looking to recruit for. So you know they're looking for members of staff. You can apply directly through the website. It's a really good way of searching and finding apprenticeship opportunities in the area that you're looking at. So yeah, the website's just there, findapprenticeship.service.gov.uk. Create an account on there, and it's a really, really good place to start in terms of looking for those apprenticeships. However, so that's not the only place that you can find apprenticeships. There are other ways, plenty of ways to get jobs out there, and it's the same with an apprenticeship. There's plenty of ways to get an apprenticeship. So contacting Opportunity Sheffield, that is us guys, that is me. So part of the service that I offer is I help support young people in education, finding those opportunities, applying for those opportunities, helping with CVs, interviews, that sort of stuff. You've got the South Yorkshire Apprenticeship Hub, which, again, exactly what it says on the tin. Their job is to create new opportunities for apprenticeships in the South Yorkshire area. So they work with employers, they work with colleges, put them together to create more job opportunities for people in South Yorkshire. So South Yorkshire Apprenticeship Hub, if you search that, then you can bring up their website there. Sector-specific training websites. So, you know, for example, if you're interested in engineering apprenticeships, you've got the AMRC, which is based in Sheffield. They are probably the best place to study engineering apprenticeships. They've got all state-of-the-art equipment. They work with fantastic range of companies from McLaren to Rolls-Royce and things like that. So it's an amazing place to study if you're interested in engineering. So take a look on their website. If you're interested in health and social care, look on the NHS website for their opportunities. So sector-specific training centres, things like that. Any regular jobs websites like Indeed, you can find apprenticeships on. Just type it in the search bar, apprenticeships. Social media, I guarantee at least 90% of the people on this call are on some form of social media. Make sure you're searching for opportunities on there. Friends and family, you know, we've got lots of parents on the call. If you know anyone who works for a company who takes on apprentices, you know, sort of, yeah, you work for a company yourself that takes on apprentices, absolutely, you're more than welcome to work with family members, friends, anything like that, providing they can give you the opportunities. So start speaking to people. It's a massive way of people getting apprenticeship opportunities there. And then attending events and things. So we'll talk about the Be Inspired event a little bit later, but plenty of ways that you can find those apprenticeship opportunities. So make sure you are utilising all of these areas. So what to do now? Basically, you want to get ready, start searching. So developing your CVs, things like that. You will need a CV to start applying for jobs. It's what everyone uses to apply for jobs. So I'm sure, you know, most of the parents here have got a CV. I've got one. I'm sure everyone else on the call who's speaking today has got a CV as well. It's something you guys will need to create yourself, or maybe you might be able to do it in school, in lessons, to speak to your teachers and parents about that. But it's what people use to apply for jobs. So you're going to need to start creating that at some point, you know, over the next couple of weeks and months. Then it comes down to applying for those apprenticeships. So looking in those areas, as I mentioned on the previous slide, a good place to start looking, a good time to start looking is from February and March. So from the 9th of February is National Apprenticeship Week. So a lot of employers will post vacancies and stuff during that week. And then you've got National Careers Week, which is the first week of March as well. So again, you're going to find the same thing, a lot of employers promoting opportunities. Keep on applying for things, keep on applying for things. You're not guaranteed to get an apprenticeship, so you've got to apply for all different sort of areas, as many apprenticeships as possible. I would get looking on those websites every single week. Once a week, every Friday after school, look on the government website, look on the other websites, see what opportunities are up and coming, and apply for every single one that comes up. The more apprenticeships you apply for, the more chance you're going to have of being successful. So you've got to apply for as many as possible. And then hopefully, you know, come sort of July, August time, you're considering those choices. Maybe you've been offered a couple of apprenticeships. Maybe you've not been offered anything so far. You've not been quite lucky enough to get one. Then it comes down to, you know, maybe you're going to go to your backup option as like a college course or something like that first of all, before you can get an apprenticeship and be successful with that. And yeah, starting that apprenticeship hopefully from September 2026. So big year. It's a lot of work for you guys, but make sure you're utilising all those different options and stuff. And yeah, just applying for as many opportunities as possible. A couple of websites here to take a look on. So Amazing Apprenticeships is a really good one. Lots of resources aimed at parents, carers, teachers, anyone like that, students obviously as well. So that's a really good place to start looking, just developing your understanding a little bit further. As I mentioned, the South Yorkshire Apprenticeship Hub is a good one. So southyorkshireapprenticeships.org. And then we've got the Opportunity Sheffield website at the top there as well. So take a look on those websites for some further information. We will share the slides out after as well, but these are my details on the screen here. This is what I offer as part of Opportunity Sheffield's Apprenticeship Ready service. So that's searching for apprenticeships, applying for apprenticeships, sitting down with you and completing application forms for jobs, helping with your CV, you know, touching up on it. Is there anything you can do they can stand out that's going to make it a little bit better for employers to hopefully stand out with and be successful? If you've got an interview for an apprenticeship, drop me an email, let me know. I can sit and have a chat with you and prepare you for those interview questions and things. So yeah, my details are just at the bottom there. harrymcgregor@sheffield.gov.uk, or you can email Apprenticeship Ready. Either one is going to go through to myself, and I can pick up with you there. But yeah, that is the support that I offer. So there is help out there, but you've got to work hard to get those apprenticeship opportunities as well. So I think, yeah, that's pretty much it from myself. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an understanding. I am going to pass you over now to Emma from Amy, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the apprenticeships that they offer. So any questions and stuff we will sort of answer at the end there. But yeah, I appreciate your time and thank you very much for listening this afternoon. Cheers.
Well, thank you, Harry, and hi, everyone. My name's Emma Pickering, and I am the social value lead for Amy in Sheffield. And today I'm going to talk to you about the apprenticeship programme that we run across the whole of the business, and of course, put some focus on the apprenticeships that we've got here in the city as well. So for those of you who haven't heard of us before, we are one of the UK's leading infrastructure and engineering organisations, and we work across quite a large number of different sectors. So you could find us in rail, road, highways. We look after a number of prisons in the UK, a couple of NHS sites. And we are also branching out into the electric vehicle charging market. So with working across all of those areas, it means we have over 100 job titles within our organisation. So that obviously opens up quite a wide range of opportunities. We currently have about 12,000 employees here in the UK. And here in Sheffield, we've got over 400 employees over 2 sites. The apprentices, really, they are a core part of our future workforce. We've currently got within the organisation over 300 directly employed apprentices. That's across the whole of the UK. And then we've also got about 200 people who are working towards professional development apprenticeships as well. So, and we've been running those programmes for quite a few years. We think apprenticeships are a great way. I know Harry's touched on some of the benefits of apprenticeships, but we think they're a great way to gain experience in your chosen field. And by completing an apprenticeship, you will be receiving a recognised qualification. One thing that we always get asked is like, what is the starting salary? We are a living wage employer. We do pay above the national average for our apprenticeships, but we will come on to those later in the presentation. So Harry has touched on this a little bit, but just to echo what he said, all of our apprenticeship programs are advertised between levels 2 to 6. So that table there just outlines what all of those levels mean. We have dropped in the box there, so the level 2, the equivalent qualification, on also the entry requirements. But on our slide there, we have also dropped in the duration of the apprenticeship. A lot of the apprenticeships we offer here within AMY, they will be on a fixed term contract for the duration stated in the box relating to the level which you are studying. And on some of our programs, they are a permanent position once qualified and once through the probationary period. Each of the apprenticeships that we offer, depending which contract you're working on, will have some slightly different terms and conditions. So if, as a result of hearing this presentation today, you want to explore apprenticeships with AMY in a little bit more detail, please do check each individual advert for the T's and C's of that apprenticeship. It could be different even if it's in the same location, if it's a different role. So I do like to point that out. So with regards to the apprenticeships I'm going to be focusing on talking about today, they are mainly going to be between levels 2 and 4. But we do, as a business, we do offer degree apprenticeships. I believe HSBC are going to tell you a little bit more about their programme as well later, but we do offer that as well, mainly in our consulting sector. And they are often linked to civil engineering and also business management. So you may see some of those adverts coming out for that level of study as well. So doing an apprenticeship, as Harry has touched on, it is a different way of study. And we do have a small amount of apprenticeships for 16-year-olds. We do have a couple of roles that we will take people from school in, and they are linked to level 2 business administration and also level 2 customer service. Now, if you are joining us at that age, we do appreciate this is going to be your first job. And so really just want to highlight, and also for teachers and parents and carers on the call, the type of support that no matter what level of apprenticeship you are doing with us, if you do join AMY, the level of support that you'll receive. So when you're onboarded, obviously you'll have your direct manager to support you through the apprenticeship programme. There'll also be, if you're in an operational role, you'll probably have a site supervisor as well. You'd be allocated a mentor within the business. These are people who probably don't work within your area of work, so it's someone that you might not see on a day-to-day basis, and they can give you some advice towards helping you study, maybe planning your time or any tasks you've been struggling if you want to talk to someone other than your manager. You're also assigned a buddy, and this is somebody who's completed the apprenticeship programme. You're also in touch with the BU there stands for business unit, early careers team. So we've got 3 business units. So you'd have contact with the early careers team for your business unit. You'll also have the training provider, the person that's delivering the qualification, whether that's an MVQ or something similar. And then you'll also have access to people who sit above the business units, which is the group early careers team as well. So there's a lot of support when you are completing a programme with us. So what types of apprenticeships are available locally? So our apprenticeship intake does take place every September. Roles will be advertised for Sheffield. I've just got the date today. They will be going live the week of the 2nd of February. We are recruiting approximately 9 to 10 apprenticeships for the Sheffield contract that I work on, and there may be some others in our consulting division, which is over towards over on Atlas Way, closer to like the Meadowhall end of the city. So these, this slide I'm sharing now, these are our current apprentices, some of our current apprentices who were happy to share their photos with us. So first of all, we've got Liam. He is working to a level 2 grounds maintenance qualification. Now he is working with the grounds maintenance team. He joined us at the age of 18 after completing something called an environmental stewardship work experience placement that was taking place in his area of the city. And he's developing all his skills in ground maintenance, ground care, machine operations, and he is working towards that MVQ level 2 qualification in horticulture. Now, I've dropped on there as well, for some of you who are still at school, I've dropped in there. They were happy for me to share this, what schools they all went to. So you can see Liam, he's a local Sheffield lad, and he went to Hindhouse School. So some of you don't know, Sheffield's a small world. Some of you may know him as well. Now, second apprentice who's currently working with us, Sophie actually only joined us the September just gone, and she has joined us on a level 3 business administration apprenticeship. Now, I must stress, when you see a business admin apprenticeship advertised with us, they are all very different depending on which team you are working with. The type of job that Sophie is working towards becoming, she is actually working towards becoming a capacity planner. Maybe a job title a few of you haven't heard of before, but her job will be looking at supporting the future planning and efficient use of the transport network. So she's part of our highways team, which is a huge team which work every single day of the year. 24 hours a day on different shift patterns, looking after different aspects of the highway network in Sheffield and doing lots of things behind the scenes to make sure that we can all travel around the city safely. So that's Sophie, and she's, like I say, working towards her level 3 business admin. Then we've got Jack. He is currently working towards the end of his level 4 apprenticeship program. He is working towards being a quantity surveyor, and his official qualification title will be a quantity surveying technician. And he likes to work with numbers, provides support in cost and planning and our procurement and commercial teams. And he is now, he is a little bit older, he's in his early 20s, and he is now out on site measuring work, costing work, and liaising with the team back at the office as well. And then here we've got Freya. She's working towards being an arborist, and hopefully the picture gives you a clue what being an arborist includes, and that is the care and maintenance of trees. Now again, Freya joined us a little bit older. She has worked somewhere previously before, but then has come into this line, was interested in this line of work. And she will also get her MVQ level 2 in arborist studies. So all of these 4 that I've shared with you currently working through their apprenticeship programme, and all of them work for us. Their programmes are on a 40-hour-a-week contract. Now, the way all of their programmes run are slightly different because of the nature of their jobs, but each and every one of them has a day allocated to complete the study for their qualification. There are 2 apprentices who are completing operational roles. They are assessed more on site and through their practical skills, which they are developing. They still do have some college coursework to do, and that is done online with their tutor. They are allocated some time in our main office, which is Olive Grove, Healy in Sheffield. So they come in and they're allocated some time, a day of the week, or one of their shifts as they work shift patterns, and they spend their time doing their qualification and their study there. Now, for Sophie and Jack, the way they study is slightly different. For their day jobs, they both have a laptop, and they have an agreement with their manager of what day of the week they would like to do that study. And as soon as they've passed their probationary period, so that's the first 3 months of working for us, they are able to do that study day at home if they wish. So a full day of the week is spent working towards the qualification. Now, the majority of these apprentices, they are not going into college to complete their qualification, and the learning is done online. And we use the same training providers for the same courses across the UK. So it's not like these apprentices are going to Sheffield College or working with Sheffield College to complete their qualifications, as they are doing a lot of them online through different national training providers for the way that their courses are delivered. And all of them, work different hours of work. As I touched on, we are open every day of the year here, 365 days, 24 hours a day. So their shift patterns vary. Some of these roles are a 6:30 start. Even Sophie in the office, her day starts at 7 a.m. due to the nature of the team she works for, but then we have other business administration roles which are more 9 to 5. So do check that if you are interested, if you prefer having a bit more of a lie-in. So if you are, have a look around our website, and if you are interested in applying for any sort of roles with us, the application process, we've tried to make it as easy as we can, but as Harry touched on, you will need a CV to apply for a role, and so you'll need to first go on to amy.co.uk, and you'd have to register, so you need an email address as well, and then you'd be asked to upload your CV, and then there is a short psychometric test which asks you a few questions, and then if you are selected for to attend our briefing session, that would be the next step. Now, the briefing session is an invite to join a call similar to this, but the invite, when you join the call, it would require you to have your camera on. And I always tell young people that, because some of us are a little camera shy. So you'd be asked to join the call, and on that call, there will be the recruiting manager for the job, and there will also be the other candidates which you are up against, so you can see who else has applied for that role. From the briefing session, you will then, if successful, and if you want to continue with the process, because the briefing session, you might have found out more about the role, and you might have decided, do you know what? That's actually not for me, which is fine, because the interview is a two-way process. You need to know if an apprenticeship with us is right for you as well. So some of you may drop out at that stage through your choice, and then some of you may go forward for interview. And again, we appreciate if you are coming to us at 16 or even 18, it may be some of the first interviews you've ever had. The interview process isn't to catch you out. It's just to find out a little bit more about you and to see if we're a good fit for each other. And then if you've come for interview, we hope you're successful, if you'd like the job, and then obviously we will get in touch and tell you about how to start work. So I did cover this slightly when I was talking about the current apprentices on our contract. Not sure how well you can all see this on screen, but this little diagram here just talks you through your first few months on an apprenticeship program with Amy, and it just outlines the process of when we onboard you. You get introduced to the contract locally, obviously get all your IT equipment, your PPE if you're in an operational role. You may then be going out and completing health and safety, meeting key team members, and then you'll also, in those first 3 months, you'll be getting in touch with the training provider, talking to your manager, how you're going to plan your time to successfully complete the qualification, along with delivering a job. So I really must stress it is a job from day one. There is no like, you know, you'll do a bit of study and then you'll get to the job. There is a real job there for you from day one with us. And for your first 90 days, as touched on before, you are on a probationary period. And that is just for us to check in with you every month to make sure that you're on track to complete everything. If at the end of the 90 days, you can't, if the end of the 90 days, you've had discussions with your manager and it isn't a good fit, then, you know, sadly, we may part company, but we do put a lot of things in place before we reach that point. So just getting on the programme, the reason I stress that getting on the programme doesn't mean you are definitely going to be there to complete it, because you need to be showing the commitment from the start. Again, professional development that goes alongside not only the qualification you're studying towards, but also we have, like any big organisation would, we have our in-house training modules. They're called Learn Upon. We are also looking to develop all those essential skills when you join us, such as those in listening, speaking, leadership. And so the apprentices are invited to a number of events throughout the year to help them develop those skills. The more informal development opportunities, there are other things you can get involved in, networking sessions, job shadowing. If you've been in work and seen something you'd like to do elsewhere, you can also ask to maybe find out more about a different department as well. And one thing to point out is we do invite everybody under the age of 24 to see if they'd like to do the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award. Even if you're not on an apprenticeship, if you work for us and you're under the age of 24, for self-development, you can get involved in that. Many of our apprentices do, and that is a great way to develop your personal skills as well. No, obviously they want you to be a success. I have covered this briefly just in the other slide. So yeah, do everything you can to make sure you get the most out of an apprenticeship with us by asking as many questions as you can when you are with us. So at the end of the programme, if it is a fixed term contract, what will happen? So, well, if it is a fixed term contract, there will be discussions with you about 3 to 4 months prior to your contract coming to an end. And at that point, you'll be able to discuss with your manager the options for job roles to go into. And so we are thinking about that before you have even, started your apprenticeship for where, you are going to end up within the business. Obviously, it's in our best interest to keep you as we have put all that training and investment into you. So just like to finish on this last slide. Within our organisation, there are some great opportunities available. And just for all the young people on the call, I just really want to stress that it is your responsibility to drive your career and make the most of the opportunities available to you. Vacancies for our September start go live on the 2nd of February. This is for the whole of the UK. And like I say, we've got 9 and 10 of those, which are in Sheffield. And our web address is there, amy.co.uk, early careers. And you can, if there's any questions on the chat that I can answer and I can see, I will make sure I get those answered for you. But yes, everything is on our website and they also feature on apprenticeships.gov.uk. So thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Now we're going to have Abigail on the call, and she's going to talk us through her experiences as an apprentice.
Hi everyone, I'm Abby, and I did a level 3 business admin apprenticeship with Opportunity Sheffield. When I was your age, I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted a job and I wanted independence and I wanted something that felt like it was going to be beneficial towards me. The thing I loved most about my apprenticeship with the council is that it wasn't just like a work experience. I was trusted and I was respected and I was treated as part of a team. I liked the idea of learning on the job instead of just sitting in a classroom, and being paid whilst learning was obviously a massive bonus. And what I like most is knowing that the work that I do actually affects real people in Sheffield, not just pointless tasks that aren't going to affect people. No 2 days are exactly the same. I'm trusted with proper work and not just making tea or shredding paper all day. And it's not always easy, but you're supported. You've got a team around you, you've got a manager, and there's always people around you that are going to help you. And you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to ask questions. It's all part of you growing up. And I've grown more in my confidence, in me as a person. I've matured so much quicker than I thought I ever would have. And I feel more prepared for the future than I ever did when I was at school. There's no right path about it. It's just about what suits you. Sometimes you may go into something thinking that that's going to be the right thing for you, and it might end up not, but that's still okay. And apprenticeships aren't always the easy option, but they're definitely a strong option for you. And if you're unsure about what to do next, that's normal. That I went through that. I went through it for years. Apprenticeships are an amazing way to learn and earn and grow. My tasks that I do now since I left, I've been given more since I'm still in the council, but I've finished my apprenticeship and I've just been given more and more tasks to help me grow and help me decide what path I want to go down next. But when I was in my apprenticeship, I was doing things like supporting with our job fairs. I was helping with like little admin tasks, helping with our system that we use. I was helping with the work experience and using the web system that we were using for that to make sure each student had their risk assessment done. I was doing all sorts. They got me into everything and they pushed me. More importantly, they pushed me out of my comfort zone, but what ended up being really beneficial towards me. But yeah, that's about everything. So if you've got any questions, just let me know.
Thank you, Abby. Yep, if you've got any questions, pop them in the Q&A and I will answer as many as we can at the end. I'm now going to introduce Emma from HSBC, who's going to talk about what their apprenticeship program looks like. Emma, can I ask you to take control of the session, please, and then you can control your slides. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. I'm just going to ask Luke actually to take control because my internet has cut out and I ended up dropping off the call. But hello, everyone. Lovely to meet you all. Just a very quick introduction. So I'm one of the recruiters in our early careers team at HSBC in Sheffield City Centre. I am going to pass over to my colleague Luke, who's going to introduce himself. So I'll let Luke kind of take the floor first, and then I will speak to you guys very, very shortly in a bit more detail about our degree apprenticeship. So over to yourself, Luke.
Yes, thanks, Emma, and thanks everyone for joining the call. It's great to be with everyone virtually this afternoon. So my name is Luke Peacock and I'm on the same team as Emma, the Emerging Talent team here at HSBC based in Sheffield. I'm hoping that most of you, if not all of you on the call, recognise our company logo that hopefully you can see on the slide in the bottom right, and that you've heard of HSBC before now. And in fact, many of you, when you're kind of walking through your towns and cities and down the high street, you may have seen actually many of our branches before. But actually, our branches and our banking is just one part of what our business does. And in fact, HSBC is much, much bigger than that. And if you've ever walked through Sheffield City Centre, you may have seen our big flagship office in Sheffield, and you may have wondered what the people inside of that office actually might do. And there's a mixture of different things in our Sheffield office. We have people working in finance and customer support, but actually our Sheffield office is one of our global tech centres. So the majority of our teams working here are on technology teams, and that's what we kind of want to talk to you about today, which is that in 2023, we introduced our level 6 degree apprenticeship programme in technology. Emma will talk more about the details of the programme before we get to that, but I actually just wanted to share some details about HSBC before we get into that section. So HSBC, I think this was mentioned at the start of the call, we're a huge global organisation, and you can see some statistics there on the screen. We recently celebrated our 160th birthday. We employ over 220,000 people worldwide. We have almost 10 billion monthly transactions, and you can see our data centers across the markets in which we operate. And Emma may tell you more about the program in just a moment. And actually, one of our apprentices, Kennedy, who's on the call, will tell you a little bit about what it's like being a technology apprentice at HSBC. But we have 7 key markets in technology at HSBC. So we have Singapore, Hong Kong, mainland China, India, Poland, Sheffield and Mexico. So if you were to join us as a technology apprentice, you're very, very likely to be on a technology team, which is actually working globally with colleagues around the world. You actually might start your day logging on and having colleagues in the Far East and Southeast Asia throughout the day, maybe having calls with India, Poland, and then maybe logging off for the day and handing your work over to North America to colleagues in Mexico. So we started it. You can also see our values on the screen as well. And I have to say, out of all companies I've worked, HSBC is incredibly values driven, and our values really come through to every aspect of all our work, and they really drive and are our guiding principles, really, even in terms of the type of people we want on our programs as well. When we talk about valuing difference, we do want people from all walks of life who've studied all different kind of subjects at school and college to bring fresh perspectives to our business. But one thing I did want to talk about specifically was our degree apprenticeship community and our emerging talent community, because despite only starting in 2023, we do take on relatively big cohorts each year. And so if you were to join us as an apprentice, you wouldn't just be kind of one apprentice or a team of kind of 1 or 2 apprentices. You will be joining as part of a cohort, and we have a growing community of emerging talent of graduates and apprentices based here in Sheffield. And in fact, last year we launched our 4 community pillars, and Kennedy actually is one of our community ambassadors for our community outreach pillar. And so you can kind of see some images on screen, hopefully, of the different things that our 4 community pillars have done. So from community outreach, Kennedy's work, she's gone into a lot of schools in Sheffield and the surrounding areas to pay it back. And they've done things like coding classes, cyber escape rooms, which I know Kennedy has designed and has been an amazing success, which school students have really enjoyed. Our development pillar, I've organised talks with very senior leadership here at HSBC who have flown in from around the world into Sheffield and met with our graduates and apprentices, which is really important in the early stages of your career. There's also an image there you can see of the apprentices on a recent visit to one of our data centres. We actually have 2 data centres, one in South Yorkshire in Barnsley and one in West Yorkshire. We also have a sports and social community pillar, so they've organised everything from the Edale Skyline Challenge. So you can see they've been up into the Peak District in summer when the weather was better. They've also had paddle tournaments in the autumn and winter when the weather's been not so great. And our very important wellbeing pillar as well. They've organised wellbeing dinners and also used their community budget to organise some mental health first aid training. But the point I do want to drive with this slide is that when you start at HSBC, we are a huge company, and our size and scale actually means a lot of opportunities. It means you can actually do many, many different roles as you're a time, not just as an apprentice, but beyond that as well. And you will meet lots of people that have been here for 20 years, 25 years, and they will tell you they've done lots of different roles. And as one of our managers puts it, her career at HSBC, she was an English graduate. She describes her career as a series of blind dates, just because you never know what opportunity you might be presented with next, just because we're such a big company. But despite the size and scale, you get to come in and rather than, just have to do a job, you really get to carve out and navigate your own career. You get to bring to the business what you can offer, what you want to do, but also what you want to learn and what you want to become. And our community building is part of that. And if something doesn't exist, we strongly encourage our grads and apprentices to make it happen as well. So that's enough from me on kind of the community we've built over the last 3 years of our degree apprenticeship programme. And I'm now going to hand over to Kennedy, one of our degree apprentices from 2024, who will tell us a bit more about her journey since joining.
Perfect. Thank you, Luke. Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Kennedy. I am a technology degree apprentice at HSBC, specialising specifically in software engineering. So my work is all about cloud computing and Google Cloud. Firstly, I just want to reiterate what Luke said. It's really incredible to see so many people attending a session like this. I started applying to apprenticeships about 2 or 3 years ago, and the visibility on them was nowhere near as big as it is now. So it's great that there's more awareness. I think they truly are a hidden gem, or not so much anymore now. There's sessions like this happening, but I'm a huge advocate for apprenticeships. I think they're incredible, and I think the benefits are massive. So I'll try and offer a little bit of insight into my journey, just to offer some perspective and help you make a more informed decision. So I wanted to pursue an apprenticeship because I had spent a lot of time in education. I'd completed my A-levels and I was kind of desperate to get some more practical experience. I'd spent a lot of time in classrooms studying for exams, learning that was theoretical, and I wanted to get hands-on, which is what an apprenticeship offered. I was able to, throughout my role, work directly on systems that impact hundreds, thousands of customers, which isn't something I would have got if I went to university and did a more traditional route. So I'm really happy that I made this decision, because I think that the amount of growth that I've had through practical learning is immense. I also valued the ability to gain a fully funded bachelor's degree that's recognised just the same as any university degree, as was mentioned before. It's such a valuable thing to be able to get a degree and not have to pay for it, and not have to kind of repay it through your monthly salary. You'll hear a lot about it in the news, and people will talk about kind of the climate surrounding the student loan, and I think apprenticeships are a really good way out of that. And just on the back of that, being able to do an apprenticeship has meant that in my early career, I'm able to think about my financial situation. I'm able to think about my financial future. And at the age of 18, being able to start saving up and things like that is incredibly rewarding, and it gives you a completely new level of independence as well, and a lot of confidence as a young person to be able to have those skills and that ability to start thinking about your life and thinking about what you want to do. Specifically at HSBC, working here has been absolutely incredible. The opportunities that I've had have been second to none. There's things that I've been involved in that I would not have gotten the chance to anywhere else. Specifically within my role, I have ownership over certain parts of the platform that I work with, which as an apprentice is massive. That's such a privilege to be able to say that I kind of control my own bit of work. Having people from all over the business come to me as a subject matter expert essentially is very rewarding, and gives me a lot of confidence in my role and my ability. Also, transitioning from a classroom setting to a corporate environment has been definitely challenging. I think it's definitely something that a lot of people are conscious of before they pursue an apprenticeship, because, you know, having spent however many years in education, then suddenly going to a workplace with people that have been in an office environment for many years, and then it kind of having to adapt to that way of working is definitely a challenge in itself. But the apprenticeship team at HSBC are equipped with so many skills and resources to help you transition and make that transition smooth. So that's one thing that's been really beneficial to me as well. And also my achievements. When I do something good, when I'm proud of something, HSBC celebrate it. They make sure they know that we know how valued we are and how amazing our achievements are. To come from school and to be trained up and be doing the same work as people that have been at the bank for many years is an achievement in and of itself. And it's something that's definitely celebrated and recognised by the emerging talent team. Something that I would say to everybody on this call today is, if you're considering an apprenticeship, if you're on the fence, if you're even a little bit intrigued by them, I'd say look into it, look at all the different routes that are possible, and just apply. There's nothing to lose. It's an incredible thing that's kind of been put out there. those of you who might be interested in a degree apprenticeship like myself, obviously it's likely that you'll be applying to university at the same time. The best thing about apprenticeships is there's no limit to how many you can apply for. You can apply for as many as you want, give yourself the best chance possible to secure one. And honestly, just have confidence in yourself. I apply to a lot of apprenticeships, and it's not an easy road. It's not straightforward. There'll be rejections, and you might kind of feel like there's a lot of setbacks, but it's just part of the process. Just keep going and be resilient. And then when you see the kind of benefit of applying, and when you get that offer, when you secure that role, you know that you're set up for a very long time, and it's very rewarding. So yeah, that's my advice to everybody here. And also just be proactive, seek opportunities, chase the career that you want. Know that when you have a job, or like when you're in an apprenticeship, how you want your career to plan out is completely in your hands, as long as you take the initiative, chase your dreams, chase your aspirations, get involved in as much stuff as possible. Yeah, thank you. I'll now pass back to Emma to explain a little bit more about the programme and the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Kennedy. That was really, really great. Great to hear about your experiences and why you chose a degree apprenticeship. So hopefully some of you might be keen to hear about what apprenticeships we actually have to offer. So I'm going to focus on our degree apprenticeships, which is in two main areas. So Luke, if you could just flick to the next slide, please, that would be fab. But most of you will know, obviously, HSBC, we are a bank, so of course we do offer a degree apprenticeship on the finance side of things, but as Luke has mentioned, here in Sheffield with our technology HQ, we have our technology degree apprenticeship as well. So we've just kind of summarised the key bits of details really about the degree apprenticeships on either side. The technology degree apprenticeship, well, both of them are fully accredited degrees, bachelor degrees. What I will say is the difference for the technology degree apprenticeship is this runs on a block release model. So you have two kind of different types of models for a degree apprenticeship. So the block release model, you would typically work potentially 4 to 6 weeks, kind of your normal Monday to Friday working week. And then for 1 week after that 6-week block, you would then be released from work to study for that week at university. So during that week of university, you're not expected to be checking Teams messages, your emails or anything like that. And a lot of our apprentices really like the block release model. Whereas our finance degree apprenticeship operates on a day release model. So the day release model means that your working week, Monday to Friday, is consolidated into 4 days, so Monday to Thursday, as an example, and then Fridays you'd be released for that day, and that would be your day to kind of focus on your university work. So I just wanted to highlight that there is that kind of difference between the way that degree apprenticeships can run, and that will be kind of specific to the business area and other employers as well, however they've kind of chosen to do that. You can also see our eligibility criteria on screen as well. So to be honest, we don't ask for specific subjects. I'll come on to the recruitment process very shortly, but we operate a skills-based hiring approach. So we look for the skills that you have and your potential. It's not about your background. It's not about what subjects you've studied. We acknowledge that people from all different backgrounds can have lots of different skills, and you know, we want your skills essentially. So to be eligible for our technology degree apprenticeship, you need 5 GCSEs, grade 4 or above, which includes your English and maths, and then you need 96 UCAS points, and that can be either through A levels, it can be through a BTEC, it can be whichever way. As long as you have your 96 UCAS points, you are eligible to apply to our technology degree apprenticeship. And then on the finance side of things, as you can see, slightly different. It's still the 5 GCSEs at grade 4 and above, including your maths and English, but at A level, you will need a minimum of BCC again, in any subject, but you will need to get a BCC as a minimum to be eligible to apply to our finance degree apprenticeship. So if we could just move to the next slide, please, Luke. A little bit more on our application process. So I'm not kind of going to go into too much detail here. During kind of the recruitment season, we do have a variety of virtual events that are advertised on the website that you can sign up to. We have different kind of events, to psychometric tests, to hints and tips for your application, things like that. But this slide just kind of is a very high level overview of the application process. So you can see you'll start off by submitting your application via the website. You'll then be invited to complete a skills-based assessment, which actually generally will take up to a maximum of an hour. Once you've actually submitted your application with us, there is a candidate hub that you have access to, and it does have a variety of resources on it to help you. There's a practice zone, so there's practice tests to help you prepare before you actually do the real thing. So if any of you do apply to our degree apprenticeship or to any of our roles, make sure you have a look at our candidate zone, because there are some really, really great resources on there. And then dependent on the pathway that you would be applying to, sorry, I missed out a key detail actually. So for our technology degree apprenticeship, we offer it in 4 different areas, so 4 pathways we call them. So you have cyber, software engineering, data, or technical business analysis. So you would need to first decide out of those 4 kind of pathways which one you would want to be applying to, and then dependent on which pathway you pick, you may or may not then have to complete an online technical test. And then subject to that, you'd be invited to attend a virtual assessment centre, which is comprised of 2 virtual interviews, and that consists of skills-based and motivational questions. And then once you've completed your assessment centre, you'll find out your outcome in the subsequent weeks after that. So it looks like there's a lot of stages, but honestly, we have tried to simplify our recruitment process so that it's you submit your application, you do your online test, potentially a technical test, and then you have your 2 virtual interviews in an assessment centre, and that is it. What I will say as well is that we are a CV blind process. So as I've mentioned, our focus is skills-based hiring, so the skills that you possess. We're looking at your potential, the experiences and skills that you've built through education, through hobbies, that you can then look to develop on programme. We appreciate that, lots of you, aren't going to be experts in the field. You're not going to be experts in a professional setting, but we're looking for those that have skills that you can build on in the workplace. And Luke, who you've heard from, is our development advisor, and Luke is there to kind of support you and your development to ensure that you're growing both on the professional side, your technical skills, your soft skills, but also on a personal front as well. So just to kind of finish off, as you may or may not be aware, in just a few short weeks, we will have National Apprenticeship Week. So we will be hosting a variety of virtual events throughout National Apprenticeship Week. So feel free to screenshot this slide here. Sorry, Luke, it's just the next one. Feel free to take a screenshot of this slide. We have got lots of different events throughout that week taking place, which I'm sure, if this was around when I was at school, I would have jumped at being able to sign up to some of these events. There's some really, really useful sessions. Skills session about what skills do employers look for, where do you start with skills, how do you recognise what skills employers want, HSBC and you, finding out a little bit more about us as an employer and what we can offer. We've got a whole session dedicated to hearing from our apprentices. So we do also offer foundation apprenticeships, which I know I haven't covered on this call, but we do offer foundation apprenticeships Generally, they are not based in Sheffield, however, so there are other locations such as Birmingham and Leeds and London, but we do offer some foundation apprenticeships as well, so you'll get a chance to meet a variety of our apprentices on that call and hear about their journey. And then also, final event of the week on the Thursday is Exploring Careers, so trying to figure out what career do you want to do. I know there's so much information being thrown at you guys, and it can be really tricky trying to decide how do you know what career is right for you. So that session is designed to kind of get you thinking about different careers that might be best suited to you. Luke, if you could just flick back to the other slide, please. Thank you. So if anyone is kind of keen and in year 12 or 13 and is kind of getting ready to actually start their applications for their next steps once they finish education, we do have a talent community, so you can sign up to that to be notified of when our roles go live. So typically, if you're not aware, early careers roles will go live in the autumn, so from September, October onwards. So that's the time where you'd be preparing to get your applications in, whether that's your UCAS application for university or whether that's your apprenticeship or grad role applications. As I mentioned, we've got our candidate zone there as well with practice assessments, so really useful resources in there. And then we do also have an application guide. So have a look around our website. Even if you're not interested in working for HSBC, there are loads of resources that would be, of benefit to you guys, even if you learn one thing or, one little snippet from something on the website, you've gained something there. So yeah, I hope that was helpful. And I will pass back to Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. Right, and so now we're going to move on to our events in March. So that was phenomenal, Emma. I think I might apply for one of those. Sounds very exciting. Right, so week beginning 2nd of March is Careers Week. Your schools should have been organising you some events that week, and there'll be a lot going on across the city with multiple employers. On Thursday the 5th, we run, I say we, Sheffield City Council, run the biggest apprenticeship fair in South Yorkshire. It's called Be Inspired. So this day we'll have up to 100 employers attend throughout the day. These employers will all have live or upcoming apprenticeship vacancies. We have 25 to 30 schools from across Sheffield and Rotherham attending. So it's between 800 and 1,000 students. And on the day, there'll be vacancies such as engineering and manufacturing, construction, civil engineering, finance, accounting, IT, hospitality, health and social care, local government, childcare, hair and beauty, HR, education, the list goes on. So there's loads of vacancies. Each year we get about 100 apprenticeships filled purely from this event. So it's not just employers turning up and talking, they're actually going to recruit people. Your schools, Harry's going to talk a bit about this in a second, but your schools should be inviting you along. I would encourage you to bring CVs, talk to the employers, tell them what you want, tell them what you've got, what you need. They'll be able to explain what the journey is. Harry, do you want to pick up and talk a bit about your side of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as I mentioned at the start, I do a lot of work with the schools in the area. So Be Inspired, it's a massive apprenticeships event, as Stephen said, and we do invite most of, if not all of the schools across the Sheffield region, and going into sort of Rotherham and Barnsley as well, for anyone who might be sort of from those areas there. But mostly sort of Sheffield employers, Sheffield vacancies, and most of the Sheffield schools will be attending the event. So if you are in school currently in year 11, year 12 or year 13, what I would suggest from you guys is I would speak to your careers team at the school, someone involved in careers at your school, ask them, are we attending the Be Inspired Apprenticeships event at school? So most of the schools, as I said, will be. There's maybe one or two who, for whatever reason, maybe, it's exam period or something like that. So Not every single school can attend, but most of them will be. So if your school is attending, if you speak to your careers leader at the school and they say, yes, we're attending as a school, fantastic. All you need to do then is make sure you get your name down to attend the event. You need to nag that careers leader in the school and say, I need to be at this event. I really want an apprenticeship. Can you put my name down? I'm serious about finding an apprenticeship. I have to be there. And then hopefully they'll put your name down and then you can attend the event with the school and they will be sent all the information, all the details that you'll need for the day. So they can take charge of that. If you go to your careers leader at the school and they turn around and say, unfortunately, we're not able to attend as a school, and like I say, there's a couple of schools that can't sort of make it. What you will do in that instance is you would need to ask your teachers or your careers team in the school, maybe if you could get some additional leave to attend the event on your own. So if you maybe would ask for the afternoon out of lessons to be able to attend the event off your own back. So you might need to ask your parents to take you. You might need to get the bus or the tram there, but you would have to attend on your own in that sort of instance there. But anyone is welcome. You're more than welcome to attend the event, providing you can get that chance out of school to be able to make it. But anyone's welcome to attend. As Stephen mentioned, there's some fantastic opportunities available there. So it's definitely worth putting the hard work in and asking the questions to be able to make it. Bring your CVs along. There's plenty of employers there, all offering apprenticeship vacancies. You can go to this event. You can speak to the people, the employers that you want to work for. You can speak to apprentices like Kennedy and like Abby and ask them the questions that you want to know the answers to. How can I apply for your apprenticeships? What do I need to do to stand out? What vacancies have you got? When do they go live? Can you take a copy of my CV? Can I have your email address and I can email you it? You need to be going to ask these questions and, there's going to be some amazing opportunities there. Bear in mind as well, if you are attending the event, it is not just a chance for an afternoon or a morning out of school. It's a serious opportunity to get an apprenticeship. As Stephen mentioned, again, there's going to be up to 1,000 students attending this event. You are going to be competing against these other 999 students for the apprenticeships available. So turn up, dress smart, bring copies of your CV. When you are there, ask questions. Don't be messing around. Don't just wander around and not speak to anyone. It's a fantastic chance to get an opportunity to get an apprenticeship. Parents, if you do have sort of, if there are any young people or students who are maybe a little bit uncomfortable, sort of going to the event on their own or things, parents, carers, teachers, anyone like that who sort of might want to attend with a young person or a student, again, you're more than welcome to do that. What I will do in just a second is I will put a link to register the event in the chat at the top of the screen. So all you can do is click on that link and you can register to attend there and get those tickets sorted. But yeah, it's a few weeks away, so you can get prepared for it, get that CV developed, things like that. And I'll put the link in to sign up now and you can register for that. But please, please, please speak to your careers team at the school. If you're going as a school already, brilliant. If not, you might just need to do a bit of work to be able to get the time off to attend, really. All right. So again, any questions, type them in the top of the chat for me. But I think that's pretty much it from myself. So I'll hand it back to you, Stephen.
Great. Thanks, Harry. Right, before we finish, we've got a few questions that we're just going to go through. So I'm just going to try and assign them to whoever might be most relevant. I think one of the questions that's come through is that will copies of this event be available? So yes, we've been recording it and we can circulate it to everybody who signed up to this session, not a problem. We can send transcripts and if none of the presenters mind, I'll send out all of the slides as well. And then there's a couple of things here. Let's just go through these. Right. If I did a lower level apprenticeship, could I then go on to a higher level one later with HSBC? Are you able to answer that, please?
Yeah, I've just responded in the
Oh.
chat actually. But yeah, absolutely. If you applied and was successful and got onto the foundation apprenticeship, absolutely. You would need to still apply for the degree apprenticeship. But yeah, technically you could go on to do the foundation and then onto the degree apprenticeship 100%.
Great. And roughly how many applications do you get for each position? Do you know that?
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be able to share that, unfortunately.
Okay.
But what I will say is, I'm sure you guys have kind of got this from this call, but apprenticeships are becoming increasingly, popular. So, that's no different for us. So I will say that, it's quite a competitive application process, let's just say that. So that just reinforces the need to make sure that you do your preparation, you do your research, and you kind of use the resources that are available to you to ensure that you've got the best chance at succeeding.
Thank you. We've had a question. Is there an offer for young people with additional learning needs and have EHCPs? Again, that might be Emma or Luke to answer that one.
Yeah, I'll pass that to Luke for on programme.
Yeah, so I think Emma had mentioned part of my role at HSBC is about development, and what that means is actually a lot of different things. So it's primarily, yes, about knowledge and skills and making sure that, yes, you go to your uni lectures and that you're on track to obtain your degree, but actually when you go through the application process, you will have the opportunity to share any information that you think is relevant, and we will make sure that you have a meeting with me actually prior to joining, and I can talk you through the different levels of support that you would receive that you can offer through HSBC. And there are actually many different layers depending on which type of support you would want to access. Depending on what it is you need, you could have something that involves your direct team, so the team you work with day to day. However, what some of our apprentices prefer to do is compartmentalize, so they prefer to actually have their team focused on their work, and then they come to my team, the emerging talent team, the development team, and we have regular one-to-ones and catch up and make sure you have all the support you need in place. If you've not heard of it before, all employers have something called occupational health. So this is where you can, your manager can make a referral. You can see an occupational therapist, and this individual, you could even see doctors, nurses, psychologists, physiotherapists, and they will do an assessment and see kind of what they'll essentially send a report with recommendations, so that we as a business will review that and make sure that you have all the arrangements you need to make sure you are supported. And we also have a private healthcare provider as well, which some people prefer to go external and just actually have all things HSBC focused on work and use the private healthcare provider separately. But my role is it's really about the apprenticeship life cycle. So from your first day, I will probably be the person that greets you on day one. I'm helping you set up your laptop. I'm helping you put in your bank details so you get paid, because that's always an important one. But throughout the 3 years, all the way until you graduate at the end, I'm having regular one-to-ones with everyone to make sure they're supported. And that means that, yes, make sure your team are providing you with work so you can build a portfolio, that you're constantly learning and growing and developing, but actually that you've got the right level of support you need. And we often hear about this term more and more about psychological safety, and that's about people feeling that they can come to work, be themselves, participate fully, and feel comfortable. And so when we talk about our values, which were on one of the previous slides, we talk about things like we take responsibility, we value difference, and we succeed together. And all of those values really involves supporting one another. And so you can make a declaration prior if you want to tell us about additional learning needs and anything like that, and we can make sure it's in place for day one. Some people don't always feel comfortable in the process, declaring that, especially maybe when they don't know the person or who's receiving that information. But in our one-to-ones, things can be disclosed afterwards. It's not like you have only one opportunity to tell us. Actually, in the one-to-ones with me, if you want, you can share things then, and we can put things in place as soon as you feel comfortable and as soon as you feel ready. But yeah, we have a very vibrant community of graduates and apprentices who are from all different types of backgrounds and are neurodiverse, and we definitely celebrate these things. And sorry, but I know I'm going on. Just very quickly, we do have something at HSBC called ERGs. These are employee resource groups. We have 19 officially, and one of them is called Ability. And this is all about supporting individuals with physical, mental health issues, additional learning needs. So we're part of the Sunflower Lanyard scheme, and you can join this ERG, and they will hold regular support sessions. And it's a community group, another community group for you to have access to. They do training webinars, and they can support teams, support you as well. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Luke. Appreciate that. Harry, one for you. Are you aware of any apprenticeships in our area relating to journalism, writing, publishing, anything like that?
Yes, I have been reading through the captions and the chats and stuff myself, and yeah, I know Emma and Kennedy have been absolute legends replying to everyone on there, so I appreciate that. But yeah, sort of following on from I think what Kennedy's mentioned already. So if you're interested in sort of like journalism and writing apprenticeships, a lot of the way to sort of go into that, usually it can be sort of like freelance journalism and stuff. So looking for an apprenticeship, you probably are looking at, as what Kennedy says, like the big sort of media companies and things like that. I know BBC Radio Sheffield have just had an apprenticeship not long ago that they've been recruiting for. So definitely look on the BBC website for their apprenticeships for whenever they're sort of recruiting next. They have a wide range of different roles, and I think going into organisations like that, if you are, because I think the journalism apprenticeship would be sort of, I think it's like either a level 4 or level 5 apprenticeship. It's that higher level. So if you are looking at doing an apprenticeship, maybe if you're in year 11 at the minute, going straight out of school, then it's like, well, you can't do that yet. So maybe look at other options that you can work within the BBC. And then once you're in there, then it's a case of, right, I can work my way up to becoming a journalist now. But getting into those, getting your foot in the door of those media companies would be the big thing. Like you just want to sort of get in there, and then you can create opportunities yourself from within. But yeah, definitely looking at that. So the BBC Radio Sheffield have a good few apprenticeships that they advertise for. Let's say it was recently, they've just sort of had one. So I'm not sure when the next intake may be. Another sort of media outlet that has a really good apprenticeship program would be Channel 4. They are based in Leeds, but they do offer a lot of apprenticeships, and they do support with like accommodation and things like that if you needed to sort of relocate there and that sort of stuff. So yeah, journalism apprenticeships, you want to focus on those big companies. I know there's a couple of people sort of mentioned like pharmacy as well. You've got pharmacy assistant apprenticeships. You'll find a lot of those on the government website. If you type pharmacy in that government website, you will usually find a lot of those for pharmacy assistants. If you want to be sort of looking at the more higher medical, level apprenticeships, again, you're looking at those degree apprenticeships. So that'd be sort of on the NHS website to become, your doctors and things like that. And then I think someone was just asking like, what's the difference between T-levels and an apprenticeship? Apprenticeship, easiest way to explain it, nice and quick. I know we're sort of pushing for time a little bit. But yeah, easiest way to explain it. An apprenticeship, you are working 80% of your time and you are studying 20% of your time. With a T-level, you are studying for 80% of your time. So you're in the classroom for 80% of your time, and you do have a work placement. So you would be working 20% of your time. With a T-level, it is unpaid work that you are doing. It's more work experience. With an apprenticeship, it is a proper job. So hopefully that sort of explains the difference there. But yeah, I don't know if there's any more sort of questions or whatever, but.
Okay, I think we're just about out of time. Just want to say that there is the email address. So if you've got any further questions, if you want to be put in touch with any of our speakers today, do just drop us a line, and we'll get back to you as soon as I can. Like I say, we'll circulate all of the slides and the video from this. I want to say a big thank you to all of our guest speakers today. That was a really informative session, and we're already getting good feedback through. I hope it was useful for everyone listening this afternoon. But we're here to help. We desperately want to support you all in getting an apprenticeship if you want one. So do get in touch. Ask us any questions. No question too daft. Anything you need to know, give us a shout. Thanks very much for joining. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. See you soon.
Thank you. Bye,
Thanks.
guys.